So the question that everyone has been asking is, what is a well-grouped? So let's come on over here and show you that a well-algorithm is immersive, intentional, and multidimensional. So it's kind of like this. You're over here and you want to get here. And to get from here to here, you need to go through a sequence of steps. And trying to explain to someone what a well-algorithm is like trying to explain to the person on the dock who's never gone swimming, never been immersed in the water, what's the water? And how does it feel like to be in the water? The person on the dock can describe it, can assign adjectives to it, nouns to it, but you really don't know until you're there. So it's immersive. The second thing is it's directional, it's intentional. So it's a series of steps. And one of the things that we see in social media is you have a post of single feeds. And this is what we live in, and Twitter calls it the fire hose. But instead of a feed of infinite posts, and they're all single posts, you see, if you're in single posts, you're kind of stuck on the dock, or you're kind of taking one step. But what a well-algorithm is a matrix instead of a single post feed. So you might start over here, right? And you might say, I'm over here and I'm going to take a step here, and then I'm going to take a step here, I'm going to take a step here, and then I'm going to take a step here. Okay? And the idea is I'm going to start at a lower place and I'm going to wind up at a better place. And the big question is, the question of the 2020s is, how do I get from here to there? So if I'm feeling anxiety, depression, loneliness, anger, frustration, fear, and I'm starting at the lower levels, how do I take a step forward? Or how do I prevent myself from taking a step backward? So we switched really from the feed to the matrix. So when we come over here and we take a look at what makes up a well-algorithm, we have science, art, practice, people, and prototype. So the science, we took a whole bunch of things from science in psychology the last 100 years, the last generation. There's a lot of science about chunking, about scripting, cognitive behavioral therapy, developmental psychology. But there's also one of the things you get when you get a lot of these apps, these cognitive behavior therapy apps, is they're missing the art. So the humor, the gamification, the fun, the poetry, the spirituality. These components, we're finding, in our 13 years of testing, that these components, the art components, the softer components, are just as important and just as evidence-based as the scientific components. Then there's some really big trends in the culture about practice. Microdosing, we've seen that in psychedelics, but we also see micro-practicing as a really big movement. And so when you come over here back to the matrix, and you think of these diamonds as micro steps and micro practices. And when you put the steps together, you get a well-algorithm. So the thing is that you and I have talked about this a number of times, is we all have different sequences and we all have different strategies. So it might be that, and I know my head's probably jerking if you're watching it on video, but it might be that Susan is really good when she's frustrated. She might start at a step over here, and Haley might start over here, and Carter might start over here. And everyone has a different sequence. Everyone has a different way of diving into the great sea, right? And of making progress. And then also what's interesting is it varies from day to day. It doesn't just vary from individual to individual. It varies from moment to moment, day to day, season to season. Sometimes in your life, there's a strategy of anger management that works for you. You want to scream, you want to yell. Other times, you really need to take a deep breath and relax. So, and different stages of your life. So, this may seem a little abstract, but what we're now going to do is show you a prototype, okay? And the one key to remember, let me see if I can do this in one swoop. There you go. Okay, so what we're going to show you is this. We're going to show you Ooh, interesting. We're going to show you the extracts. And so right now for version 1.0 of the Interverse, the algorithms are presented in the form of extracts. What we're not yet able to show because of memory issues, resource issues, it's actually really demanding to put the AI and the ML into virtual reality right now for us. So instead of showing you all the possible steps that Susan explored to choose that she's going to take this step, we're just going to show you the steps that she chose. And what's really interesting is ultimately you're going to see how she got from here to there, right? And you're going to see her best steps. Now, version 2.0 or version 3.0, that's going to show you more of the matrix. But right now, we took the extracts because we wanted to get the thing started. And so you can see that algorithms are a little science, a little art, a little practice. They're all about people. And right now, this is key. A lot of people forget this. Hello, that you're looking at a prototype. A lot of people, it's amazing. We live in such an impatient culture. You know, Mark Zuckerberg says he needs $100 billion in 10 years to build the metaverse. And so when we look at the Interverse in 2022, we're really looking at essentially what's an embryo. And so where it is now is at the foot of the mountain, not the peak of the mountain.